10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Storm Spirit!
But Alchemist is sort of the opposite of that. He's sort of a Dragonite style where you pick him because, you know, he's this hero that doesn't really get punished by many heroes, but Storm is like perfectly fine trading farm. And he'll get a little bit more than the Alchemist. Obviously, he has Gruvo's Greed, so he'll get more last hits, but not less, or not more net worth. But yeah, Bat Rider is worse as a Storm, just because the lasso is so short range. The Storm is zipping around all the time. It's very, very hard to get on top of him. It's quite good versus the Necropos, as well as the Veno. He's a natural Orchid carrier, so you could stop them from getting off the Ghost Scepter, or what it's called, Ghost Shroud, and then stop the Veno from getting off the Poison Nova. I think Storm is quite good this game overall.
Very, very interesting drafts, and well, been quite a treat. There's been a lot of variety really in the qualifiers in terms of what each team is trying to bring to the forefront and find that success with. But now the draft's complete. Do you have kind of a favoured side here in this matchup? I mean, obviously in terms of teams' records, Alliance are having the better day. Do you feel that they've got the better draft in this heads-up?
Yeah, I think so. I think in general, these lineups that are very, very five-man oriented, that don't have a lot of catch, you typically tend to favor the lineups that have more options, that have more things they could potentially do. I'd say Alliance probably have the late game this game. Their lanes are quite solid. The bot lane, I think Loda's going to have basically free farm. I don't think they can really zone Jonas and Fawn out of top lane. So I think like whenever you're not absolutely crushing your lanes with this sort of a five-man lineup, and these heroes, they can split the map. They have a lot of pickup potential between like the Slaughter, the Storm, the Clockwork, a lot of ways to initiate fights. I think Alliance just have a lot more options, as well as having probably the better late game. I think it's definitely on NIP to make things happen, and they have to have very, very crisp execution in this game, I think.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the late game as well, you say that Alliance has got the better one. Even if we see Quaifer go on one of his Farm Frenzy Fest where he's, 15k ahead of the leading farmer, do you feel that it's just not going to be enough having that on the Alchemist to deal late game with the kind of options Alliance have in terms of their heroes?
Yeah, I mean, Alchemist in general is not really a great late game hero. That hero is all about like turbo farming and then hitting like the 30-something minute days where you're just like unkillable and you walk down lanes. But come 10-20 minutes later, you haven't gotten an item in 10-20 minutes. And the hero naturally doesn't really have a way to stick on heroes. Isn't great at actually right-clicking. He's just sort of this hero that runs in. It doesn't really take damage. Necrophos, not really the greatest of late gamers. Can be good if he has another right-clicking core paired up with him, but Alchemist, not really a right-clicker, amazing scaling forward in his own right.
So lane-wise, you're saying pretty much exactly what you called here with Sin going to the mid lane, to put harass down on him. And as you wanted, Honey, straight into the jungle. Do you feel this kind of greed NIP can get away with in the laning stage? Are we going to see Ari just do absolutely fine against this block up top in the zone?
Yeah, I think it should be a reasonably even matchup early on. I think as it goes a little bit later, the Necrophos has potential to pull a little bit ahead, but I think the Clockwork will do just fine. He has a little bit more damage than Necrophos. Obviously, he's melee, but he has the cogs to potentially push him back, and I think maybe even get a kill at like level 3 or something like that if he's ahead a level. He's even just trading a lot of attacks. There might be a little bit of trouble.
There's the first cogs back. Looking to chase down the battery itself. The creeps that are going to be able to tank it are falling very, very low. Hera, he tries to block him back there with a tree. Isn't going to work out. And looks like the region.
Oh, cancelled the salve.
Salve cancelled, and already I think as you were saying, Jonas and Fan is certainly being able to zone a few levels, battery assault on the cogs. It's tricky for Era in this top situation now. He can't really expect any help anytime soon from Hani, who is of course in the jungle.
Yeah, now that he has the shrine, obviously on the clockwork, because Necro doesn't really have access to that. Throw a missile up the top or wherever. Actually pops or cancels Cinder and Slayer the next rocket from Jonas and Fan. Yeah, Era has to last into the tower. Not the easiest of things to do with the Necrobros. Can, sort of build up some of the regen back now that he's level 3. That's the 2 points in the Death Pulse. And gets a little bit more of that regen whenever he gets these last hits in the towers. Getting basically all of them, so we'll heal considerably back up, even though the salve getting cancelled. Not as disastrous because it is on the Necropulse.
Bottom lane EGM Letter trying to make a bit of a go there onto Trixie, but he's able to be there back out to tier 1. Then Limp and Quaker continue to trade blows. 14 for 4 on Limp, 11 for 0 on Quaker. Yeah, he's got the ball out. Fine, Hanskin continues to stay in the neighborhood just in case anything kicked off mid. So Cinder and Quaker will head back to Shrine up. Hani, jungle progress, level 4 at the moment, so uninterrupted. And I mean, with the heroes that Alliance have, is there anything they could do to kind of go to the jungle and mess with Hani, or have you just got to leave the Venom Arms and let him be in these early stages? There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much he can do. Slaughter's not the greatest level 1 trading hero. Has got a pretty garbage attack animation and like pretty bad attack speed as well. And you have to know exactly where the Venom Enter is, or he gets level 2 and then he's level up on you. You can't really trade with him anymore. It's super hard to contest this hero unless you're something like a tree or something like that. So here's my
and making the level gone to Arab incredibly low. Out of regen, only mana for one more pulse. So it's going to need to rely on getting the CS there to get the regen back up.
He's trying to push the wave in on the clockwork so they can dive him potentially with the Slaughter, but Cinder's there to back him up, so I don't think he'll be going down here. Should be able to heal up from this wave.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Mid lane, Limp, still with the slight lead. Is this pretty much how you imagine this mid lane to go? Both heroes being able to find the farm, or did you expect someone to have more?
Radiant's middle tower.
Yeah, I think Storm, if he's uncontested, is still sitting there messing with him.
One lane we saw EGM got to be greedy, came all the way up to the level of the shrine to try and make a play, but NIP more than happy to turn it around underneath the regen of it.
Yeah, I think the Storm typically will have a better time than the Alchemist if it's not getting messed with, but the Cindering comes in here and throws the Ignites in, just sort of pops him a little bit. So he's having a decent time though. He's about the same CS as the Alchemist, which you're perfectly fine with as a Storm. Although there is going to be this period of time where this Venomancer is up to like level 6, 7, just comes out into this bottom lane and starts being a pest, or maybe he could even go to mid, to be honest. The Storm doesn't really deal with these Veno wards at all and would kind of just have to leave the lane. We'll see where he heads. I think mid is the place to go. Bot's probably not so good. I think getting killed by the bench is pretty.
So they're going to make another attempt here on Era's life. TP backup will come through. Era's going to be fine. Question is if NIP themselves in position to turn it around. Trixie trying to chase, but they're already back out. A couple of TPs forced out there from NIP. I mean, Era, considering the amount of pressure that's been put on this lane, he hasn't died. And the CS is still looking pretty good for him. He's ahead of the clock. He is having the better time in this lane, despite Alliance's best efforts to really try and throw him off course, constantly sending Hanskin up. Well,
yeah, it's a hero it's pretty hard to pressure, especially once you get up to like the level 5, get 3 points in depth. He's just constantly healing up, and if you're not 100 to zeroing him, then he's always just going to heal back up. Even with his salve getting cancelled level 1, he's still getting fast at level 1, and he's still just perfectly fine. Now that he has the phase boost, the clock can't really come to lane at all.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Load up, simply respect for Alliance, he himself, or finding a really good CS. I mean, if we kind of look across the board, no one's really being slowed down in terms of the core positions. I guess the one comparison you make is Trixie was not really finding anything in regards to gold. Did get a few levels, but it's going to be a slow progress for this Batrider. Of course, that kind of lane deficiency is kind of offset by the fact that Han continues to have a brilliant time. Level 7.5, nearly reaching on to level 8. I mean, what is the plan for this Venom? When does he finally leave the jungle? What's he working towards?
I think once quick maybe going for the armlets. Yeah,
Yeah,
he actually has it. All right,
Yeah.
so yeah, he's at doing it at a pretty good clip. I think maybe the Honey will rotate to the mid lane and just start spamming down these wards. Force heroes
Radiant's
from
top
Alliance to
tower is
rotate
under
while the
attack.
Alchemists can farm up the jungle freely. As Alliance, they're pretty bad at actually bringing down this Alchemist early on. And the way their lanes went with this Veno just free farming. The Necrophos having a pretty nice time top. I think NFP has a reasonable window where they can start 5-manning down these towers, or 4-manning down these towers. While the Alchemist just farms the jungle, gets into that Radiance, and then they can slowly start up this 5-man where they're just indestructible. And I think Alliance going to be trying to look for any small pickups they can. The Clockwork just got his level 6, so they may look to make a move over the Necrophos. I think that's a hero that they could bring down. It's pretty hard to kill this Alchemist. He's always in the jungle, you never know where he is. I'm surprised Hani is still farming. He's level 8.
He's sticking there. I mean, this is such a great position to jungle in, isn't it? Because you're between these 3 camps and you're not in the main jungle. You're so close to any potential backup coming through that you're just in no danger whatsoever. He's had the freest to farm. Top lane, Jonas and Fan did hook shot in. Maybe was hoping that Loda could get into position for pull-up damage, but I mean, with the 2 of them, it's such a hard kill and error. Already actually just TP's out of that top lane, realizes something fishy is about to go down, and wants to try and help him against down bottom to find some action instead. Moving on to EGM, and EGM, no hope for him at all with that movement from Loda. So I think Era just nicely realizing, alright, you move your carry up here, I'll just move to the other lane, take a support, by the looks of it, get an objective as well with Harney pushing the lane down.
Yeah, and I think I think the Loda TPing up there for the Clockwork, this ward paid huge dividends because they saw him so early on.
Yeah.
The Venom immediately started running down to bottom where they saw that TP. And now the Venom actually TP as well, so he potentially TP up to the top line, although this tower is kind of a death trap nowadays, so I think they may just let this go. And then take control of the Radiant jungle. And this Alchemist is just so farmed. He has 2.4k gold on top of the armlet. They're definitely setting up to get this timing where they have this super strong 5-man, and Alliance don't really have the tools to defend it. They have a lot of kill potential. They can potentially bring down these heroes, but as far as just chipping them down or delaying the push, they're not really that great. They kind of just go all in and they kill heroes, or they don't do anything at all.
Trixie's just going to look to clear this camp, as it will give him the level 6 to have that. So online, down at the entrance. He's going to make an attempt on this. The hook shot. Jonas and Fan didn't connect. It may not matter. They'll surround him in the closet. You take him down. Rush on Diogo trying to hold him back, but Harney coming in with a very nice ult onto 3 heroes. They'll Necro out down 1 as Sladar's taken away. And
so
with
bad.
the chase down, they may just get more. The shrine is unavailable for Alliance as Jonas and Fan. He drops Arnie with the ward snipe. Oh my goodness. The jungle Veno is going to be an all your pub CNC. It's having a great start.
He is extremely farmed. He actually has an entire Mac.
He's got the entire Mac. Oh my goodness. Well, 10 minutes in. That's disgusting.
10-minute jungle Mac. The Alchemist is 1,400 gold from the relic, so
Got so much money on the side of that.
yeah, if they were, they definitely have a timing. Their lanes worked out quite well. This Veno getting as much farm as he did. The Slaughter didn't really get that much done early on. It's going to start farming towards his blink now, so we'll give them a little bit of fighting potential once he has that online. But
even that, I mean, you're jumping into a potential Necro not dying, surviving, hurting you. You're jumping into Venomancer just appearing out of nowhere, making it very hard for you to disengage after getting a pick off.
yeah,
It's a bit of a nightmare.
yeah, I think that's sort of the thing about Alliance's lineup that we talked about. They're very much they're all gonna jump in and they're gonna kill heroes and win the fight very quickly by jumping in, blowing heroes up. Whenever you burst a Necrophos, a Venomancer, heroes that say, "Come at me, run at me, I'll press my R button," and it is very hard for them to commit into this Veno ult, and you're not killing this Veno instantly. He has a max.
Right up top lane, Innocent Fan does have a hook shot. Arnie's there as well. And Loda will be forced to back off. Make sure to wrap around here from the rest of NRP. Innocent Fan looking himself. away to the creeps, but the lasso's there from Trixie. That's around the clock. In comes Era with that lovely ultimate to knock it down for 40 seconds. And NIP, it really has been the start that they wanted. The lineup seems to have dealt perfectly with what Alliance had in terms of strength in the laning stage, and the greed of the Alchemist and the Venom in the jungle has not been punished at all.
Yeah, that's the type of greed that's good. That, you know, it's greedy for a little bit early on, but if it's not massively punished, then now this Venom has a mech, and suddenly he's not really greedy anymore. He's extremely strong to go around, do whatever he wants on the map, pressure all these lanes. And even though he was in the jungle for a very long time, typically you'll see Venom in the jungle, level 5, 7, stayed in there a little bit longer, knew there was no need to rush anything, and now it's going to sit up top lane and just force heroes to be here. It's so annoying about this Venom match. They have these heroes that want to be off the map, they want to be scary, they want to choose NIP's farm by doing that, but this Venom just sits here and they force this Clockwork to be at the tower, so they know, alright, they're not rotating anywhere.
And I think, kind of as you mentioned earlier, if you're Alliance, you're waiting on those tools for initiation. One of them has just come in as Handscan has now got the Blink Dagger. But as we also mentioned, it's going to be very hard for him to find a clean, clear opening that he can go in and guarantee that his team can find the kill before NIP have the chance of turning it around. As NIP grouping up mid, they have the ultimate from the Harney ready to go. Level 2 as well now at this stage. So very hard for Alliance to defend against this kind of push.
Yeah, they can't even really fight this either. NIP can maybe even just walk straight to the tier 2. They potentially go to Roshan, although it's kind of slow. And Alliance is just really not in shape to fight it. Limp is slowly working on. The Bloodstone is about 300-400 away now, so it's still pretty farmed on the Storm Spirit. But just compared to how massively farmed this Veno is, how, you know, skyrocketed the Alchemist is having a 12-minute Armlet Radiance. Just had a free lane, and you know they set up for this Alchemist perfectly. You know, giving him these lanes that pressure on their own, so no one had the potential to rotate on this Alchemist. He just had a free early start, had all the jungle camps he wanted, had some stacks, and now they're just going to take this T2 for free in 13 minutes.
Oh yeah, there's nothing that Alliance can do apart from just try and find as much as they can from the map. You know, Loader pushing down bottom, he's trying to frantically finish off a Lincoln Sphere. Denison found up top again. Very sound Midas. We did see it earlier in the day from himself on the Clockwork. They did win that game. I mean, are you a fan of that on Clockwork? Just the straight Midas rush each and every time? Or do you feel it should be situational?
I think it is situational. I think he had the Blade Mill queued up a little bit earlier, but I think realizing the state of this game that if we're winning this game, we're not winning it soon. And you know that's sort of the thing with these lineups. They get super far ahead. You see like everybody racking up on gold. You always have to think about how are they winning the game, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to just like push up high ground into, you know, Avenge who can hook you out, or it can swap you out, and they hook you in the base, and you're kind of just trapped there. The Slaughter Crush is going to constantly be coming in. Storm can snipe your backline heroes. So they want to get this Aegis. They want Venom just to be massively farmed, potentially get a Solar Crest, and they put it on the Alchemist, and he just walks up on the high ground. So they're going to be working towards that goal. And if Alliance get to the point where their core is strong enough to start bringing down these heroes, so they actually have kill potential. You know, the Storm gets an Orchid, although that is quite far away, and it's an entire 4k gold, but if they get to that, then maybe they can start bringing down these supports and take these fights whenever NIP does get to that point where they're going to start forcing the high ground.
Looks like they're going to try and go for a smoke reveal with Hansen's thing, and immediately find a target that's a very good way to kick off the action. Everybody throwing themselves in on that Venom, making sure that there's no chance for Harney to do anything in response.
Yeah, that's like the optimal kill. If you bring down the Venom at the start of the fight, then they don't have like this massive counterplay where you jump into them and he presses R and then everybody dies.
I mean, they may have killed, but that Venom, he's still got a 15 minutes Guardian Greaves completed. He just managed to pick that up on the way down.
Yeah, I like going for this Guardian Greaves before going for something like the Solar Crest because of the potential of like the Storm getting an Orchid.
Yeah, you've got to throw the stuns at him, otherwise he's going to be able to ult every team fight now.
Yeah, you can purge off the amplified damage as well, so if he's not getting 100 to 0'd, it's going to be very, very hard to kill him, especially with the extra Guardian Greaves regen, all that armor. He is super tanky.
A golden thread.
More net worth than Loader at the moment. It's very close between the two of them. Obviously a lot of that is down to the fact that they have taken the towers, Alliance themselves We have managed to take 2 tier 1s. Loda very close on finishing off that Lincoln Sphere. And that is certainly going to be one of the saving graces really for Alliance's lineup, as we talked about. In terms of what catch for the Weaver, Loda's got a pretty free game in terms of getting himself around. There's still quite a bit of AoE damage though that he does have to be aware of, that there's going to be a nuisance. But Loda can certainly play his way around in NIP's drafts.
Yeah, once he has some items, then he's definitely going to have a pretty nice time in this game. As of now, it's kind of weird because it's hard for him to actually scatter around in these fights and do any damage because they have so much, like, they have so much damage whenever you run into them. They don't really have damage, like, they can't really jump on you and kill you, but if you run at them, then they will kill you. And that's exactly what Alliance wants to do, so I think Loda for now picks up the Lincolns, basically makes them ungankable, so they're just going to be splitting these lanes, trying to split the map as much as possible with Storm and Weaver. These really mobile cores, and they definitely have the means to do so. It's just sort of a waiting game right now. See if Alliance can get any of these pickoffs as they split the map, because they have the heroes to do so. So, you know, NIP, they had a great start. They had the start they needed, but if they aren't able to get to that stage where they can 5-man, take the racks, you know, get that first set, you know, probably with this Aegis they want to, maybe the next one, but with that next one, it's gonna start to get hard.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, as you said at the start of this game, you still feel that if Alliance can prolong this game, at the end of the day, that's going to be better for their situation, with the way that they're building and playing.
Yeah, whenever you're playing versus Storm and a Weaver and you're playing a lineup with no catch, it's just it's a ticking time bomb. Before heroes start getting out of hand, you're playing these Ogre and Venom supports, and you feel really good now. This Ogre probably doesn't feel great now, but as the game goes farther on and on, the Storm just kills the Ogre at the start of every fight, or kills the Venom at the start of every fight. It's gonna start becoming really, really miserable. As you can see, everybody from NIP moves on the bottom, and everyone from Alliance goes on the top. So they continue to split the lanes, farm up on these cores. We were actually going for a Maelstrom, so even more farming potential. Not going for any single target.
Oh wow!
Just gonna try and scale as much as possible.
And I guess it does help against the imminent pressure that Ninjas and Pyjamas have against Alliance. You're preparing for dealing with what the high ground push is and having to clear the freeways out. Well, smoke from NIP. Jump forward for Trixie. Scored himself hamskin on the Slaughter and knocked down one, and they're even going to see if they can try them for a second. EGM trying to hold back Trixie with the magic missile, but Error and the boys surround him. EGM trying to swap his way out of danger. It isn't going to happen, as they'll lose 2 in quick succession on Alliance.
Buybacks.
We'll try and find a tier 2 in return, and indeed, as you said, if NIP can put on the pressure here, Alliance is going to be limited with their tools of defense, as the tier 3 is getting threatened. Limp coming forward, immediately multicasted up, and in fact, he just goes down. The damage is too much. I mean, we talked about the lack of lockdown, but when Sin gets good multicast, they have more than enough time to kill the Storm Spirit. And NIP, they should get away with at least this tier 3. We'll see what Alliance can do. They do still have a fortification Alliance. They're holding on to it at the moment. They are just going to let the tier 3 fall. NIP will now have the full 5-man of Alliance to deal with. Back on the plate, but Boyfe, he doesn't care. He's chomping into these racks. Holds back EGM with a concoction. And NIP, 20 minutes in, they may get away with this. Limp tries to go on to Trixie with a backup of Loader. They do take down the bat. But the melee racks are down. NIP got what they came for. Boyfe still sticking around on the front lines. Burning EGM low with the radius. Arrow jumping forward with the death pulse. Oh, he's taken him down. Forces Alliance back to base. Hanscan comes in, pounds the ground. He's a mile off from Error. At NIP, they've cleaned out the entirety of the bottom racks. And they're not done yet. They just move straight on to middle.
Yeah, they just can't jump into them on Alliance. They weren't able to split them up to fight as I say that.
Oh, they're going to try and make their best better. They're going on to Error, but immediately the ult from Arnie comes out. The heals from Error. Jonas and Fan, hook shots across, bringing Error down low. Will find the kill onto the Necrophos, but the rest of Alliance is dead. Loader will buy back. He's trying to head himself over to help out, but Jonas and Fan to fall. The Greaves are popped, and NIP looking very, very good at the moment. Trixie jumps forward, grabs EGM with the lasso, back into the clutches of his teammates. As NIP executing this exactly as you said they needed to, CCNC. Just ramping it up, putting the pressure on. They are doing their best. They're not going to let this one go late at this rate.
Yeah, they know that if this game goes, you know, past 30, 35 minutes, things start getting hairy. These lanes get pushed out very, very quickly by the Storm and Weavers. So They hit that timing. They take the first set of racks, take the tier 3, now they get shrines, get even more map control. They're definitely not out of the woods yet. This game is still winnable for Alliance. They're definitely in a better position on NIP, but it's definitely still losable. They have the Blade Mail and the Clockwork now, so potentially have a little bit more kill potential. The bounce back of the Acid Spray and the Radiance is kind of nice on the
Dire's middle
Alchemist.
tower is under
Obviously,
attack.
it's good versus the Venomancer, but he doesn't really care so much as he's just sort of a sponge. He just walks into the fight, presses R, and his job is done.
What do you think about the build that Arrow went for in this pace of a game as well? Is this not usual, the phase drums veil, or is this very much just because of the tempo they're trying to dictate this time?
I think the Veil is an item that's commonly picked up. Drums is an item we almost never see anymore, as it's kind of just been eclipsed by like HOD, and then Veil is an item that's picked up just a lot more than the drums nowadays. But I think he just sort of wanted to synergize with this movement speed a little bit, having like the Bloodlust, the Bat Rider. You know, because if they can't really like just catch you and blow you up, and they kind of just want to run you down, which is what they did. And a lot of these earlier fights, whenever they killed the Slaughter and the Venge and the initial racks, I think the Blink is alright, gives them that little bit of catch they kind of need, that lack the mobility. So just a lot of like filling up their shortcomings, I think.
Here we go again, NIP revving up for another high ground siege.
Dire's top tower is under
They'll drop the
attack.
tier 3. Alliance were putting some pressure up on the top lane, but they're all backed up now. Remember, they can't afford to lose the second set of racks. Boyfriend, immediately Manson. Manson Starling making sure that there's no chance of being dragged in by Lim. NIP being much more cautious this time round. May see if Trixie can get the pick off to kick things off. He's up with the Firefly. They do have the vision on the high ground. It will be taken down by Loader, making it that little harder for Trixie to find an opening, but it may not matter. Koikfa just goes back in onto the racks. Fortification will come out. Then again going forward, but again, just with the Manta style, causing so many issues. Koikfa has been swapped in, but do they have the damage to bring him down? He's amplified up, forced away once, and he'll just go back to hitting the racks. Jonas and Fan came in on the back lines, was looking for Hardy, but the ult comes out for the Veno. Error chops him down with the side. And NIP, they'll clean up a second set of racks. 23 minutes in. Jonas and Fan with no buyback for a minute. And, I mean, this is just NIP absolutely dominating Alliance, it feels, in this game. Is this a drafting thing? Is it just, were Alliance not prepared for this?
I think the Necrophos kind of threw them for a curveball.
Yeah.
Radiant's top tower
I think they
is under
expected this
attack.
Venom to be safe line. They were kind of prepared for that. They have the Clockwork. You can like have a decent time up top.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
But I think whenever this Venomancer is jungled, the Slaughter, I don't know if he tried to find him in the jungle and harass him, but he was over on the right side. And so we just had this free time, and then once the Venomancer, you have to be with him at the start or not at all. It's too late.
Got Alliance trying to fight on the back line, so your hand's getting a loader. Looking for a kill, trying to finish off Cinderin, but they can't quite do it here. Lim will finally bring him down with his dying blow, but immediately buying back. Cinderin's going to come back into the fray. Koikfa just moves forward. He's far too powerful. They cannot deal with this Alchemist. As Alliance just falling apart, they tap out. 25 minutes in, 20-5. NIP with a draft that was just the perfect answer for what Alliance wanted to do this game. Alliance just, they didn't have a chance from the lanes onwards. It was all downhill for them, and NIP